So today's the start of where I start sewing my winter wardrobe, spring wardrobe, summer wardrobe, all of the wardrobes basically. So today's going to be the first time that I'm working with a pattern. So I went to the library, printed off this pattern here, which is going to be making this inspiration photo somewhere over here or here. I don't know which direction Future Me has put it in. And this is the fabric that we're going to be working with. So one issue that I've already encountered is I went to the library to print this off, and the test measurements here, which I should have done before, it says 5 by 5 and it's actually kind of 4.5. So it's going to run about maybe 10% small, but I don't have a printer, so I can't really do much about that. So we're just going to kind of go with it and see what happens.
My battery ran out while I was recording this apparently, but I cut out the pattern from the pieces of paper, then taped them all together. This took so long. I underestimated how long this would take.
So now I have all of the pieces cut out. So I used up all the storage in my phone filming the last part. So you will have seen a jump to now we're here. The thing I will fill you in on, which we did, was we cut notches in the fabric. So we have some notches along here that help us to match up the different parts for what we need to attach. So the first part we have to do is let me just pop all of this onto a different chair over here. We are attaching the front part and the pockets. The pattern the instructions say the right side facing up of the front, and then we need the right side facing down on here. So we have some notches. Actually, the pieces should be like, so it's right side facing up. So I need this one like that. Yes. Okay. And we're stitching along there. We're looking for the notches that we made in the fabric to then do the same for the back piece and the two sides fabric. So we're putting the right side with the right side of the fabric there. And we're going to line up the pockets, clip those in. This is my first time that I may have said about 4 million times already working with a pattern. And I need to improve my technical skills, and I think this is something that can help me do this. And the notches is something that I think I will be taking forward into other things that I do, as it helps to line things up and it's going to help to make it quite symmetrical. Now that we have the front pieces, so the next step is we're taking the front pieces that we just sewed, putting them right sides together, and we're going to sew the shoulder seams just here. Now we have the front and the back parts stitched together. The instructions are telling me to press the seams open here. So we're going to go press them with an iron just to give it a more finished look when we're finished. And then after that, then we're attaching the armholes to here, where it goes from the front piece all the way around into the back piece. And then that's going to attach the arm. So let's press that and then attach the arms. We have our arms attached to the pieces. So this is one arm, another arm over here. Now let's sew it. we have the sleeves attached. In the instructions, it said to press the seams towards the body. So I think I've done that right. It said to press these ones open and this one towards the body. So I think this is how it should look. So we have the arms attached here. Now the next instruction is to kind of fold everything in half, and then we're sewing all the way around. So we're going to be closing it up. I've clipped the outside edges where we're going to be sewing. I've noticed two mistakes that I made. The first one was with the pockets. So they were opposite mirror images, but I didn't match up the correct ones when I grabbed the two of the four. So this bottom piece here actually matches up to this top piece here, and this bottom piece here matches with this one. So they're just slightly not fitting together perfectly, but I've kind of bunched them together, which will give the pocket a bit more volume. Another thing that I've noticed is this was a pattern for a woman, and I did the measurements of the waist and the hips, etc., and that was fine, but I didn't do anything about the wrist because I thought it was quite an open wide wrist, and on measurement my wrist will fit in here, but the widest part of my hand, look at my veiny hand, don't judge it, I'm very dehydrated apparently, the widest part of my hand won't fit into this. So I think what I need to do before I close it up is I'm going to add a small strip extra of fabric in between these two seams here. So I'm going to sew from the armhole down and then close that off. And then for this part here, I'm going to stitch in a small strip of maybe extra 2 centimeters or so, just so I'll be able to fit my wrists in. So I have the extra pieces that fit onto the sleeve. So I'm just not sure whether I sew it up first or if I add the extra bit then close it up. I think it might be better to add it first before I close it up. Because now the stitching is supposed to run down the arm and then continue into the rest of the body. But if I add the extra piece, the stitching won't run down the middle, it's going to run down the side. So actually, I think I add the piece first and close that, then we close the rest of the body. I think let's go for it. Okay, moment of truth. Let's pray. I don't believe in God, but let's pray for it. You watching, I need you to pray with me. Yes. Okay, I can fit my arm through it, and it goes all the way up until my the mid arm, which is okay. Cool. Crisis averted, people. And then when we're looking at it, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not the worst. And it will sit underneath close to the body, so no one's really going to see it. If I make this again, I'll just remember about measurements and having to make it actually a bit bigger. But yeah, well done me for solving that problem and also noticing it before I closed it up. Yeah. Okay, let's do the other side. Now we've extended the arm. I'm trying to think about how we close it. because now we have extra space here. So I think we open up the seam a bit more and then pinch there. I'm going to clip it and then open it up to see what it looks like on the other side before I sew it. I mean, not ideal. It's not going to be the absolute cleanest, the absolute prettiest, but for fixing what needed to be fixed, I think it's going to turn out all right. And who even looks at your underarm anyway? I mean, I can't tell you the last time that I stood around in a public space just kind of like this. You know, who does that? Not me. So I think it won't be a problem. I'm now just realizing that the sleeve cuffs are not going to fit. So we're going to cut new sleeve cuffs to fit the extra 2 or 3 centimeters that we've added. So before we do that, we're going to close up the side seams, which we should have done in the last step. So now, I mean, ideally, I probably should have cut a triangle because the sleeve gets wider as it goes along. But yeah, this is me figuring things out as I go along. So yeah, I think ideally, I probably should have cut a triangle that would have led to a cleaner finish in the armhole, as it would have met at a point. But we can't change it now, and we're just going to roll with it. So we're going to close up the side seams. I think the best thing to do, because we've added the extra space, I think I'm going to go across, stitch across here to close it, then come back to the middle and then continue down the side seam. Okay, nice. So it's closed up now. So now we're going to go close the rest of the sides all the way around the pocket. Now that we have constructed the body, next we have to take the neck. I think this is the neck band. So it has a shorter side and then a longer side. And it says I have to stitch either side to make it a closed continuous loop. So we need to stitch here and here. We have the 2 pieces that we now have to connect. So we have the body of the cardigan, and then we have this neckband. So the narrow end is going to start, so wherever the narrowest part is. So this stitch here, we're going to put it in the center back, and then we have notches just here, and these notches correlate to the sides here, and then we have to pin all the way along, kind of going all the way around, and then we'll come back around here, and then we're going to stitch those together. I didn't read the instructions carefully enough, and I missed out a step. And I was supposed to fold the neckband in half and then stitch it together and then attach it. But I haven't done that, so now there's an entirely open edge. And I don't really want to undo all of that stitching. So what I'm going to do is going to improvise is I'm going to go around and fold over the neckband and then fold it over again so the inside raw edge is hidden, and then stitch that to the seam allowance so that it's going to be closed and then look neater. Annoying, but this is my own fault for not reading the instructions. So yeah, so let's do that. Oh, this is many lessons learned in this project about reading the instructions carefully, then probably rereading them. But this is learning. It's a new day, new outfit. I had to stop sewing this cardigan because I was getting really tired and frustrated with the things and how I was going, that I was just kind of making sloppy mistakes. And I got to the point, I'm going to show you where we're at right now. So transition. This is where we're at. So the basic shape is there. It's a little bit untidy where I kind of missed some of the stitches, and it could be a bit neater behind here. Another thing that I need to change is the arms are way too tight. So for this one here, there is no room for it to go any further, and it's kind of uncomfortable, and I feel like I'm going to burst out of it like Hulk style. So the plan for today is to redo the arms. So I'm just going to unpick the stitches here. We're going to redo the arms and make the pattern a bit wider. So on the cuffs onto here, need to finish the neckline stitching around here. I think I'm also, at the moment, this pocket is just kind of a bit floppy and a bit flapping about. I think if there was a lining, this wouldn't be a problem, but because it's going to be open and the way that it kind of sits, I think I'm going to hand stitch this onto the seam allowance just here, just so that it will fit and sit a bit closer to the end. And then also I need to unpick kind of these stitches and press this so that it sits closer to the body. Apart from that, I really like how it's turned out so far. The main issues are the arms and the size of the arms just being way too small, way too thin, and the kind of a bit of sloppy stitching around here. Then I need to kind of go around, press these seams flat so that they're laying flat and look a bit nicer, and kind of trim them down, make them look nice. Stitch this in, and then we should be finished. I hope. I do need to look at the instructions on the pattern to see if there is anything that I'm missing, but so far I'm pleased with how it's turning out. So let's carry on. Here's the pattern for the sleeve. So what I'm gonna do is I measured my my wrist size. This is about 28 centimeters. From here to here was 23. So I'm going to extend this and make the width of this one about 28 centimeters. Then I measured from my shoulder to my wrist, which is about like 70 centimeters-ish. So it's like 60, 68, 67. So I'm going to take the pattern and extend it to about 70, and then kind of make this the bottom part. And then the sleeve cuff, that we have here, this sleeve cuff is the same width as the sleeve pattern. So whatever I make the width here, I need to readjust and make the same width here. Then that should mean that even if the sleeve cuff is extended and also widened, that it still should fit the sleeve. So let's see how that turns out. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to unpick the seams. In parts, I did sew it really well and kind of wanted to secure the elbow, the what do you call that? The armpit in place. So at those points, it was kind of a bit difficult to unpick it, and I have kind of ripped into the wall a little bit. So I have to be careful when I'm re-sewing these parts, just to kind of make sure that there's not holes there. But now it's just about attaching I'm going to pin the sleeves into the armholes. Then we're going to sew that up. Yeah, so I'm not going to show me pinning the armholes. I'm just going to cut straight to stitching. So let's go. The first sleeve ended up not recording. Still getting used to all of this YouTube stuff, like the recording. Something that I did find was a bit difficult that I'm going to change for the second sleeve is because the side seam is already sewn up. It's difficult to sew it in one stitch all the way around. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to attach the shoulder seam, so where it goes around the top, and then after that, then fold it over and sew along the arm that connects it to the side seam. And I think that's going to give a cleaner finish than the first half. Yeah. Oh my God, sometimes when you just impress yourself and you just I'm really just kind of quite happy with how this shoulder has turned out. We won't talk so much about the other shoulder, but like this one, chef's kiss, honestly. Okay, so now I'm going to take the middle part, the seam of the arm, and then sew this along here so that it connects to the side seam from the inside. So I just need to pin along the side seam and then sew up this way. I was right. The finish is much nicer on this side than it is on the other side, and how the underarm sits. I'll show you the other side to compare that I did off camera. So you can see this side here has like a little bit where it's kind of peeking out. If you can see there, the finish it's not bad. It's just the other side has a much nicer, cleaner, more professional. I just need to go back in and make sure that this hole here is stitched up, and then we're sewing on the cuffs and we're almost done. I've been trying to figure out the cuffs and the instructions on the cuffs. I'm going to pop them up here. So effectively what the instructions are saying, as far as I can tell, is it needs to be folded in half like this, and then it's saying to stitch along this line here, and then turn it inside out, and then stitch this edge to the cuff of the cardigan. But there's nothing about this edge here, which would mean that this edge would still be open when it's connected. So the cuff would be attached, but there'd still be a slit here. And I don't think that's supposed to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ignore that part, but we'll figure it out now. So if I have this and then I fold it over, if I fold it over wrong side, no. It has to be sewn right sides together. So then I would sew it on the inside. I would put it on the inside. Put it on the inside, then stitch so that when it gets turned out, then there'll be a cuff. The outside edge is finished. But then what do you do with this? I guess. What do you do with it? So then once that's stitched, then I could turn it inside out. Then I can, once it's turned that way around, would I then be able to sew it together from the inside? Then maybe I can sew it together from the inside. I don't understand how this part is so difficult. Like the easiest thing to do is just to fold up the edge and just to kind of have a French seam, but I would like to have a cuff. So I'm gonna try. This I'm so close to finishing. So close. I'm so close. I feel like I'm losing my sanity with this a little bit. But first things first is let's trim the sleeve. So time to retchalk. I'm going to put it on inside out, and then I can chalk on the grey side. Use the chalk to kind of hit on my wrist. So that's the wrist bone, and then the cuff is going to sit a little bit more than that. So I think if we cut it at the just on the wrist, then we should get kind of size that I want, maybe a little bit, just a centimeter or two higher than the wrist. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same on the other side. We're gonna take the right sides together. So I think let's pin that to keep it in place for the moment. And then we're gonna go, is it gonna be easy? I think it's gonna be easier to do this from this side. So, what am I doing here? I'm gonna pin this. Let's connect it here. So we're gonna pin here. Would it be easier to close up the sides? I'm thinking before I attach the cuff. Let's go for it anyway. I'm ready for this project to be over. So we're just gonna go around and pin. Okay, so then when we flip it the other way round, then we're gonna end up with a nice finish on here. Then I should be able to take the two edges and hopefully sew them together on the inside to create a nice finish. I hope. All right, let's see how that. Let's have a look and see what we've made. I really hope I haven't just messed it up. So when we turn it inside out. Okay, so we get a nice finish on the cuff on here. Now the only issue is this open part here. So I think what I do is I turn it inside out and then connect the two open sides, stitch. Let's turn it inside out. And then we take the line. I think I'm going to use an iron to press the seams, so they're nice and flat. And then we're going to sew along the armhole and straight up here. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Oh my God. See that? It's a little bit uneven there, and I could have been more precise with this when I was cutting, but for a first time, I'm really impressed. I think I just need to press these seams open on the iron, but first we're going to do the other cuff as well. This was my first time working with a pattern, and I really enjoyed the aspect of having everything kind of fit together perfectly. Normally when I'm working, I'm freehanding and you kind of get different sizes of stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed that part. I also enjoyed the learning a couple of new things, kind of using the notches. Also, I really like the cuffs. I'm glad that I stuck with the cuffs rather than folding over the edges. I really like how they turned out. One thing that I do need to be more aware of in the future when using patterns is about sizing and kind of checking the size of the pattern print before in the test square. This one was slightly small, which kind of affected things a little bit. But overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So if you enjoyed this video, you enjoyed watching me struggle and then succeed, then struggle and then succeed, please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. You can find me on Instagram. You can follow me on there. I have an Etsy shop that you can find in the description. Yeah, and I'm just going to continue to make more videos of making things as well as kind of showing more of my life and traveling. And hopefully you enjoyed it and you want to see more. And until next time, have a good day, good night, good evening, wherever you are, and be happy, live life, enjoy yourself. Bye.